Darren Jack here from the Hall of Fame collection. I'm at the Canadian International AutoShow in Toronto, Ontario. We're going to be sitting down with some great guests, and one of these guests drove this car, Johnny Rutherford, in 1975 at the Indianapolis 500. Johnny Rutherford is a three-time Indianapolis 500 champion. He was also the IndyCar national champion in 1980. We sit down with Johnny, ask him a little bit about his past career and also about what he does today as a McLaren ambassador. Darren Jack here with three-time Indianapolis 500 winner, Mr. Johnny Rutherford at the Canadian International AutoShow. Welcome, Johnny.
Well, thank you. This is quite an affair. It's the first time I've been to this one, but it is magnificent.
Yeah, and we're in a historic room full of McLaren cars. This is a team that's very close to your heart. And you've been affiliated with this brand now for almost 50 years. It's hard to believe, right?
It's something.
Starting from 1973, and then your ambassador role, which kind of started in 2017. So tell us a little bit about your history with McLaren.
Oh gosh, I was hired by Teddy Mayer in 73, late 72, but I tested and drove for them then in 73, and the car was not what you'd want to start with,
right?
In an early test, and they took it back to England and redesigned some of the suspension and brought it back, and it was the fastest car at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
Ran 4-lap qualifying. First lap was 199.
Yeah,
and we had run 200 in practice.
Wow.
So we had been the first to unofficially go over 200 miles an hour at the Indianapolis Speedway. Well, the weather changed, and we had 1 lap at 199 and 3 laps at 198. So it was a 198 plus average.
Yeah. That's pretty special times, and you know, you mentioned the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and how special that place is to you and was to you.
Oh, yes.
But I want to take you back to the early days, you know, when you started out racing. You were good friends with Jim McElrath, and I believe a lot of fans will be familiar with your first Indianapolis experience in 1963 as a rookie, but I believe it was probably 3 or 4 years prior to that in 1960. Around then that you actually visited the Speedway for the first time at the Indy 500 as a fan, I believe, buying a general admission ticket.
Well, yes, we went up there in 60.
Yeah.
The first race that I had, the first time I had been to the Speedway, and watched Roger Ward and Jim Rathman battle it out. That was one heck of a race. Over 50 lead changes, I think. But it was, it just lit the fire, like you say. I wanted to go run there, and did stay on the fair circuit, running state fairs and county fairs and free fairs in the International Motor Contest Association through from 60 to late to 62, and then I came to USAC, and anyway, it was just bang, bang, bang. Of course, I got my big stroke was driving for Smokey Unique in his NASCAR stock car.
Also in 1963, right?
In 63.
Your first race,
February of
Daytona,
63.
I believe.
Yep. Never had driven a late model stock car in my life. Went to Daytona, and when we got signed in, Smokey said, "I'm going to go get somebody to help you answer questions for you for around here." So he went away, and he came back in about 10 minutes, and he had 2 guys with him. He said, "Here, I want you to meet Fireball Roberts and Joe Weatherly," and they were my tutors for my first Daytona 500. And
Did they stop tutoring you after you had the victory there?
No, not really. It was little Joe had trouble with his car and trying to get, up to speed like he wanted. But Fireball did help me a little bit, and asked me questions and then pointed out a few things. But it was good. I qualified and set it in. In fact, Junior Johnson and I were battling for the pole position, or fast time.
Yeah.
And Junior would go out, and he was driving Ray Fox's car, and he'd run, be a little faster. We'd be in, Smokey would take us back out, and we'd be a little faster. And so there's switching back and forth. It finally got to the point that I went out and got it before the qualifying was over, and so it was good. We set a blistering speed of 165.183 miles an hour.
Amazing.
And that was back in '63.
Yeah, I mean, those early 60s, you went to Indianapolis in 1963 as well as a rookie. What great times to have. It's amazing that you had a career all the way to 1994, spanning over 30 years at the Speedway itself. And but a lot of people don't think about how long it actually took to get that first victory. Yeah. In modern day terms, you look at Helio Castroneves, Alexander Rossi, yeah. You look at Juan Pablo Montoya. They showed up at the Speedway and won their first Indy 500. For yourself, it's more like a Tony Kanaan modern day story where it took 12 years to actually get that first victory. Yeah, it wasn't a McLaren, it was in 1974. Talk us through how special that moment was.
Well, anytime you can do that. With McLaren, it was 73, first year with them. We had some success, but still had car wasn't just quite right. In '74 was probably the most gratifying, because we qualified, and during morning practice on Saturday, we lost an engine. Scuffed the piston. Guys went back to the garage, changed the engine and everything in 58 minutes, which was a new record. Brought it back out to put in line, and Tom Benford, who was the new chief steward, had replaced Harlan Fangler as chief steward, changed the rules. He did it his way. And so we weren't there when it came time for us to go in line, so we had to go to the end of the line. Well, I qualified with second fast time in the field. Foyt was quick time, and we were going to beat him. We knew we could. And so anyway, had to start in the 25th starting spot, pole in the 9th row.
Because you were the second fastest time, but as it was in the, it wasn't on the first day of qualifying, it didn't count towards that. Field. Yeah.
So anyway, they dropped the green flag, and in 12 laps, I was running third.
Yeah. Amazing.
Just the car was so good.
Yeah.
And sat there and raced with Foyt for a long time, and he finally had an engine, had an oil line come loose or something, and that was it.
Yeah. And then of course Foyt got his car fixed during the red flag. He was kind of ready to go again, but there was never another session run or more time. So you took the checkered flag under yellow. Yeah. Under rain conditions a year later in this beautiful machine here, the Gatorade car. Probably could have won, but it was on the bad side of luck with Bobby getting that victory.
Rained, yeah.
A year later, you got your second 500. And then, of course, in 1980, we have the helmet over here from that era as well, from the Ron Burton collection. But talk us about your experiences in getting your third Indy 500 and, of course, your first championship.
Yes. Won the national title and third Indianapolis 500.
Yeah.
But with this car, if it had not rained, I would have I could have been the first 3-time winner. Nobody's ever won it 3 in a row.
In a row, yeah.
And a 4-timer because of going to Chaparral. So
yeah.
That's Indianapolis for you. So, yeah, absolutely. It's wonderful to have you join us here for this McLaren exhibit. And one last thing, we were talking earlier about the Ron Burton collection and his artwork and how some of the paintings have been special to you. Talk us a little bit about your relationship with Ron, because a lot of people don't know you're actually a pretty good artist yourself.
Yeah, it is. And of course, Ron and I go way back. He was exceptional and considered the racing artist, you know, and he did some great paintings of different people and racing, and it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations tonight for representing McLaren.
Thank you.
Thank you.